Thank you. A former Madison firefighter who sold cocaine out of a fire station sentenced today.
He pled guilty to 2 misdemeanor counts. He was sentenced today to 2 years probation.
AAA Wiggins also entered a guilty plea to manufacturing and delivering of cocaine, but the judge withheld former judgment of that charge for a year. Police used an undercover informant to bring the charges against Wiggins. Wiggins provided the informant drugs. His defense attorney said the information was unreliable. He was arrested in April, and the Madison Fire said they were cutting ties with Wiggins in May.
Well, I just got off the phone with Wiggins' lawyer, Steve Eisenberg, who tells us, quote, for 19 years, he helped the community and devoted his life to saving others. Then he made a mistake and developed a substance abuse problem like many others do, and he paid for it. This was a fair outcome, end quote.